The research I will be presenting is on the topic of Black and mixed-race women's hair within American culture and how our society views hair that is the opposite of straight hair. Beauty standards for women in America have been and continue to be a social issue for the female gender. However, when it comes to defining the ideal standard for beautiful hair, Black and mixed-race women's kinks and curls are often viewed as the opposite of beautiful. The Black woman's experience in America is intrinsically related to her hair. The importance of this research is to disseminate a narrative that no longer separates good hair from bad hair. In order to better understand Black and mixed-race women's hair, we have to look at the roots of hair in Africa and the importance that was placed on hair. For starters, Black hair is truly a sign of evolutionary genius. The frizzy, kinky texture of African hair performs as a natural air conditioner that insulates the scalp from intense and harsh sun rays. And there are a variety of hair textures that range from tightly coiled kinks to loosely curled locks, depending on ethnicity and region. Hair was also used to indicate ethnic identity, marital status, age, wealth, and social position within a community. Hair was also believed to have the ability for divine communication with the cosmos, as the hair was an elevated part of the body. Here are some examples of varying hairstyles from different African cultures. Women that wore these hairstyles had to maintain the hair's cleanliness by keeping it neatly arranged and adhering to cultural traditions. This is because a specific hairstyle could be used to indicate sexual maturity, attracting a potential mate, or a sign of religious ritual. Thick, long hair was admired in West African tribes as it symbolized a woman's fertility and talent with cultivating agriculture. Unkempt hair in Nigerian culture was viewed as an indication that there was something wrong. Perhaps the woman with unstyled hair was depressed or dirty. Hair was held in such high regard that only close friends or relatives were entrusted to style one's hair. The main reason for this was due to the belief that if someone's enemy got hold of the hair, harm could be inflicted upon the hair's owner. Therefore, the person designated as a hairdresser in a community was regarded with high esteem and respect. Special hand-carved combs were used by the hairdresser to perform the task of beautifying the hair. These are a couple of the hand-carved combs that would have been used to maintain and style the hair. In addition to the combs used for detangling the hair, palm oil was also used to condition the hair during the styling process. In the 15th century, European explorers came to the coast of West Africa in hopes of finding precious natural resources to make them rich. What the European explorers discovered were robust, thriving nations. This resulted in the Europeans developing new partners in trading. By the 16th century, Europeans from Spain, England, France, Portugal, and the Netherlands had conquered areas in North and South America and the Caribbean islands. With these new lands the Europeans had occupied came the need for human labor. Since human cargo was already a trading practice the Africans engaged in with the Europeans, the exploitation of human beings as slaves was greatly taken advantage of by these European traders. An excerpt from the book Hair Stories states, "One of the first things the slave traders did to their new cargo was shave their heads. The shaved head was the first step the Europeans took to erase the slave's culture and alter the relationship between the African and his or her hair." The need for slaves in these newly conquered territories was for the purpose of working on large plantations, and this is where the inception of negative connotations was attached to the enslaved Africans' crowning glory. In this new land dominated by pale skin and straight hair, African hair was deemed wholly unattractive and inferior by the Europeans. Many white people went so far as to insist that blacks did not have real hair, preferring to classify it in a derogatory manner as wool. Such derogatory comments and perceptions pertaining to black hair were further enhanced by feminine beauty ideals that were defined by white features, like long, straight hair. Dr. Joy DeGruy-Leary studies intergenerational trauma from slavery suffered by African Americans comments that, before you can subjugate or oppress people, you must relabel them as subhuman. White slave owners sought to pathologize African features like dark skin and kinky hair to further demoralize the slaves, especially the women. Aided by the scientific community, which had officially relegated dark-skinned, woolly-haired people to the bottom of the evolutionary ladder, the slave owners' brainwashing took root. The offspring of white slave owners and African slaves, also referred to by the derogatory term mulatto, were the mixed-race individuals that sometimes had hair resembling the texture of whites. In combination with having light skin and white features, often meant the mixed-race slave wouldn't have to work in the fields, instead chosen to work in the master's home. If a mulatto slave ran away, having a straighter hair texture meant that these mixed-race individuals could likely pass themselves off as white. However, any sign of kinkiness in the hair instantly signified an African background. It is this specific aspect of hair texture that is more similar to the European's hair that gave rise to the term good hair. With the abolishment of slavery in 1865, black hair care products would soon become prevalent within the black community. However, these products were all designed to mimic a white beauty standard. Nonetheless, having hair products for black hair allowed for the achievement of a respectable look. The black hair care industry provided an opportunity for black-owned businesses to be formed. This is a 20th century advertisement for one of the first successful black businesswomen of this time period. Annie Turnbow Malone's Poro products were created for black women to achieve the ideal beauty standard. Another successful black businesswoman of the 20th century and first self-made millionaire was Madam C.J. Walker, a former employee of Annie Turnbow Malone. Both Malone and Walker's hair products used natural ingredients that worked wonders for black women's hair. The use of these products with the hot comb helped black women and men to press their natural hair into a straightened hairstyle. Walker is often associated with inventing the hot comb, but this is incorrect. The hot comb was actually created in France during the 19th century to help French women achieve the poker straight Egyptian hairstyles of that ancient time period. These archival pictures demonstrate the prevalent pressed hairstyle of the 1900s. To reiterate, having straight hair equated to a respectable look, which also meant higher chances of achieving social acceptance and economic stability. Having straight hair was naturally a requirement for black and mixed-race women hoping to have a career in the entertainment industry. Any woman of African ethnicity that achieved fame also became symbols of beauty within black culture. With politics in America changing due to the Civil Rights Movement and the Black Panther movement, the phrase "black is beautiful" began to circulate and empower the black community. As a result, black hair was also liberated from conforming to a white beauty standard. The afro became a symbol of freeing the mind from racial brainwashing and was a style primarily seen in the younger generation. The afro also became a political statement and staple in the Black Power movement, as seen in the images of Angela Davis and Kathleen Cleaver. However, the afro was not only a hairstyle for black activists. This hairstyle was also popular with famous entertainers such as Diana Ross, Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Wonder, and more. From this point on, black hair would begin the journey of ever-changing hairstyles within American culture. In conjunction with Black and mixed race women's evolving hairstyles, Black hair products have also greatly changed. Many hair care lines are Black owned, such as Pattern by Tracy Ellis Ross, whose mission statement is Pattern focuses on hair health and encourages each hair texture to take up as much space as it desires. Don't feel the need to tame, control, or stifle your curls or coils. Let them free. In addition to the historical background of Black and mixed race women's hair within American society, the unfortunate reality of hair discrimination has been a hidden issue up until 2019. Hairstyles typically discriminated against were natural styles, braids, dreadlocks, cornrows, and afros. Before 2019, Black and mixed race women seeking employment may not be offered a job if their hair was worn in any of the mentioned hairstyles. Not only did this hair discrimination occur in the interview process, but also within workplaces, schools, and housing. However, with the signing of the Crown Act in 2019, the Crown Act ensures protection against discrimination based on hairstyles. In conclusion, despite the difficulties and negative perceptions Black and mixed race women have endured within American culture in relation to our hair, the memories of our past continue to inspire creative hair design and hair care. It is important for our society to recognize that deeming one hair texture as better or more favorable than another is the same as any other form of prejudice. Inequality is not just a race issue, a class issue, an ethnic issue, and so on. Because little girls growing up today with curly textured hair shouldn't ever have to feel ashamed, embarrassed, or made to feel othered just because beautiful, diverse spirals naturally bloom from the crowns of their heads. Thank you.